Affidavit of invitation. What is an affidavit? An affidavit is simply a writing of a set of facts made by a person under oath before a person of authority. Then, what do you mean when you say affidavit of invitation? An affidavit of invitation is a set of facts, under oath, before a person of authority, stating that the person writing the affidavit is inviting someone to come and visit him or in his/her place. When shall I apply an affidavit of invitation with the Philippine Embassy? An applicant shall apply for an affidavit of invitation with the Philippine Embassy when he intends to invite a family member or relative to visit him or in Singapore. Who are allowed to apply for an affidavit of invitation? Only citizens of the Philippines, natural-born or naturalized, or Singaporean citizens who are formerly Filipino citizens, and who are living in Singapore, are allowed to apply for an affidavit of invitation. I am a Filipino citizen who was granted a 30-day visit pass by the Singaporean government. Am I allowed to apply for an affidavit of invitation? No. Only Filipinos who are holders of work permits or passes, visas other than a visit pass are those allowed to apply for an affidavit of invitation. I am a Filipino citizen in Singapore holding an employment pass. I want to invite my fiancée to Singapore to visit me. Am I allowed to apply for an affidavit of invitation? No. An affidavit of invitation may only be secured to invite Filipino citizens living in the Philippines who are members of the immediate family, or relatives up to the 4th civil degree of consanguinity or affinity. Who are these relatives, up to the 4th civil degree of consanguinity and affinity? The following are considered relatives, up to the 4th civil degree of consanguinity and affinity. Parents and parents-in-law are in the 1st civil degree of consanguinity and affinity. Brothers, sisters, brothers-in-law, and sisters-in-law are in the 2nd civil degree of consanguinity and affinity. Uncles, aunts, uncles-in-law, and aunts-in-law who are brothers and sisters of parents or parents-in-law are in 3rd civil degree of consanguinity and affinity, and first cousins or first cousins-in-law are in the 4th civil degree of consanguinity and affinity. I am a foreign domestic worker in Singapore. I want to invite my mother to visit me. How can I apply for an affidavit of invitation with the Philippine Embassy? In addition to the requisites of being a Filipino citizen and to only invite members of the immediate family, or relatives up to the 4th civil degree of consanguinity or affinity, a foreign domestic worker is required to secure a letter from his/her employer allowing a visit, and providing accommodation for the relative's stay in Singapore. Why do I have to apply for an affidavit of invitation for my relative's visit to Singapore? The purpose of the affidavit of invitation is to make known, under oath, the main intention of the relative's visit to Singapore, and for the applicant or inviter to vouch that the relatives who are visiting will not violate any laws of the host country. This is in line with the Philippines' commitment to the international community in its implementation of anti-human trafficking laws. Will it be a guarantee that once I apply for an affidavit of invitation and the same is approved and authenticated by the Philippine Embassy, my relative will be allowed by the Bureau of Immigration and Deportation to travel to Singapore? I am afraid it will not be so. Even armed with an affidavit of invitation, the invited relative will pass through examinations and scrutiny by the Philippine immigration officers, and their discretion whether to permit him/her to leave for Singapore will be given weighty consideration.